Hi guys, welcome to another Divi theme video. This is Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. We got a great one for you today. It's how to create a personal website. We've got one here. I've made it for a chap called Chris Monroe, who's a professional business advisor. And if we roll down, it's got some nice features, all about his experience, what he wants to do, his skills, awards and education, people he's worked with, social media, and of course a working contact form. If we go back up to the top, I've got all these linked via the menu. Education, down to the contact form, and home will take us back to the top. And of course we've got these little buttons. Get in touch, it's going to take us down to our contact form. View my work, it's going to take you down to his experience. More info, that'll take you down to the contact form. Really easy to do, and we're going to do it all for you in this one single video. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and revert this site back to how it was originally. Okay, I've reset this whole site now. It's basically a vanilla WordPress site. I do have the Divi theme loaded on mine. For anybody that doesn't, you can do that in Appearance Themes. And if you want to try out the Divi, you can try it free. There's a link below this video right here. Once you go to Elegant Themes, download it, hit the Add New Theme, then hit the Upload Theme, drag your new Divi install here or hit Choose File and go to it. Hit the Install button. Once it's installed, it'll take you back to your themes. Just hit the Activate button. For instance, if I hover over this one that's not activated, you'll see an Activate button. When you've got your Divi installed, just hit the Activate button. Okay, well the first thing we want to do, let's go back to our dashboard here. Doesn't look much fun, no blog posts or anything like that. Let's create a new page. I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to go to Page. I'm going to call mine Chris, because my guy is fictitious and that's the name we gave him. I actually went over to ChatGPT and put in a little prompt up here. Write a personal website content for a business manager called Chris Monroe. Include about me info, business strategy, marketing strategy, and 3 previous fictitious places of work, including company name and position. I then updated it a bit because I wanted a bit of education. So we've got an updated version here. Obviously, you're going to have something to say about yourself if it's yours. But this is a great way of doing things if you want to get an example website set up for somebody, or if you don't know too much about a topic. Obviously, check your content is accurate. Okay, so I'm going to use the Divi builder. Just call the page Chris there. Divi comes with all kind of pre-made layouts. You can do things really quickly if you need to. I'm going to use one of those today. I'm going to go ahead and hit Browse Layouts. Now you can just look through the various styles if you want to. I think in the search for mine I put CV for Curriculum Vitae. And there it is. That's the one I used today. If we take a look at that, just click on it. Yep, that was the one I used right there. Look through them all. When you find one that you like the look of, click on it, hit Use This Layout. And there it is. It's added it to our page. Now obviously that's no good to you. You want your information on there. Couldn't be easier to update this. So let's make this our own. Once it's loaded, it's got your visual builder already loaded. I'll come back to the logo and menu in a little while and we'll link it all. First thing I want to change is that picture and put in the picture of our guy Chris. I think that's the fellow I used last time. I just clicked on the image. Once you click on the image when you're in it, it'll take you to your library and you can choose whatever you want and upload it. Great, that was perfectly for me. I'm going to leave that just like it is. He is a professional business advisor And you can just put your cursor in here if you want to and type, or we can go over to our chat GBT and let's get some of the copy that I created here. Just going to copy it. I'm actually going to go into the module. I'm going to hit the little cog to go inside. You don't have to go inside to edit the text, but I've got a couple of different types there. I want to get it right. And we need to change his name out for Chris Monroe. And as you can see, it's kept all the styling for us there. Great. When you're happy, hit the little check mark. I'll do those buttons in a minute when we've got somewhere to link to. Let's go down a little bit. And we've got a little My Experience section. We can do exactly the same thing here. And we'll just grab a bit of text and put it in. That's appropriate for there. And again, like I say, you can just put your cursor in there if you want, select it, Control V to paste once you've copied it, and it'll update it in that same style for you. And we want to put something in this bottom bit. Let's put in his business strategy perhaps. And again, you can just put your cursor in there and select it and paste your new stuff in there. Fantastic. I got it to write out a few different places that he'd worked at previously. If we look over here, professional experience, I'm going to copy this, our first one here. And we can go up. We've got our row up here. Inside we've got a couple of modules. I'm going to go into this module where it's actually got his position and what he did. I'm going to paste what I just copied in there, Control V. And he was business development manager. So I'm going to cut that out of there, Control X. I'm going to paste it over where it says advisor there. I think I'm going to cut a bit more of that off. And we want to cut the place out of there, Control X to cut that. Just hit delete to tidy that up a little bit. We'll save that. And this is going to go in the establishment over here. And again, I'm going to select it, Control V to paste what I just cut there. Don't need that hyphen on the end. Great. Well, I'll do the same for a couple down below here, as I've got two more here. No point you watching me do the same thing, so I'll pause this and get that done. Okay, well, I've done the ones I want. I've added Edgewood Solutions, Brightway Enterprises and Pinnacle Ventures right there. I've got a couple left over here. If you don't need it, you can select it. If we look at it, it's a row, the green tab. All green tabs are rows. So we can just delete that row. Or if you get to one and you want to have an extra one, you can go to the row tab here, hit the two squares. It'll duplicate it and give you another exact copy underneath, which you can edit if you need to put more entries in. Don't need this one, and I don't need this one. Great, that's fine. But I'd like this background to be slightly more interesting. It's fine as it is. And if you want to edit any of these backgrounds, we've got an orange section right here, which is a specialty section, which covers the whole section. When you hover over it, you can see the lines telling you how big it is. So I'm going to chuck a photo in behind there and sort of blend it with that color we've got going on. So if we go into the orange section right here, hit the little cog, you always find background under content there. If we go into the background, it's got this dark background here. Tabs at the top. If we go over to the third one, it's background image. I'm going to add an image. I'm going to add that sort of server room type image. Now that's okay, but you can't really read the writing very well. So what I'm going to do is blend it with that background color. So it'll highlight the writing, but still give you an idea of that image behind. To do that, make sure you're still on the image tab right here. We can roll down, background image blend. I'm going to multiply mine. And you can barely see that image there. If you want to see more of the image, we can go back to the color that was there originally. Click on the color field. Variegated slider right here. You can pull that down too. You can see enough of the image, but still see the writing well enough to read it there. I'm going to leave mine something like that and save it. And you can do that for any background on any section or any row, wherever you want. That works for me. I think they can read everything there okay, and I quite like that background. We'll do the button again in a minute when we've got sections to link to. Optimizing businesses of every kind, every size, that's absolutely fine for me, but you know how to change it if you want to. Just put your cursor in there and start typing, or you can go into the module itself and do it that way. Roll down, another button, we'll do that in a moment. Here we've got my skills. We'll need a bit more of our ChatGPT stuff. Let's take a nice little paragraph there, or half paragraph even. Control C to copy. I'm going to paste it in right here. Again, I'm just going to put my cursor in there, select it, Control V to paste. That's fine. And you can change these if you want to by going into them, obviously, and changing the details there, but that actually works for me fine. Now I also got ChatGPT to do 3 little paragraphs of bulleted lists for me: marketing, business development, and business consulting. So I'm going to copy some of these. I think I'll just take perhaps 6 of them. Let's grab it with the bullet points as well. There we go. And I'm sure you know what to do, so I'll do the first one, then I'll pause again and just do those other 2. I'm going to go in there, in marketing. I'm going to replace it with my own list. Get rid of that bullet point on the end and tidy it up. That's fine. I'll pause this and just do these 2 now. Great, that's that taken care of. I'm going to leave that section just as it is. I'm happy with that. Awards and education. Well, I've got ChatGPT to do us a bit of education stuff up here. Like I say, you'll probably have yours. I've only got 2. So I'm going to go in there, populate 2 of these, change those dates, and get rid of 2 more. And you know how to get rid of them? Just get rid of the whole row. Or to get rid of a single module if you want to change something out, just hit the trash can to get rid of the single module. I'm happy with get rid of the whole row. And I'll just quickly update the text on these. And let's just switch out these dates. And of course the top one. And let's make this 220. Great. Well, down here it's got some brands that they've worked with. If you want to keep that, that's great. If you want to delete that whole section, you can just hit the little trash can, the blue tab for this particular section, because it's not a specialty section. Or if you want to edit the actual brands, these are PNG images or transparent images. You can just go in there and switch them out. Those are just individual image modules. Just click on one, pop in whatever images you want to put in. As you can see, these are the ones it loads when you load that thing. I'm happy to leave those as they are at the moment. Now this extra, I don't think I need this section or the blue, so I'm going to get rid of that. And on the other hand, if you want to like a section, you want to duplicate it, you can duplicate any module with the 2 squares, any row with the 2 squares. If I do that, it'll put a duplicate right underneath it there, you see. To trash it, just hit the little trash can. I'm going to trash this whole section because I don't think I need it. And we're down to our contact form and social medias. Now I don't need this other section here because it's really an empty section just with a button in it. So let's get rid of that one as well. When you hover over the section, you can see the blue lines telling you where that whole section is. If you do something, you suddenly think, oops, didn't mean to do that. Hit your Control Z or Control Z keys. It'll undo that. And then any time that you're in the builder, you can hit the little purple button. Got a little clock here, which you can go back on your edits if you need to. You've done something, you can get back to a particular point there. Let's close that little button up. I wanted to delete this particular section right here, trash can. Okay, ready to chat, that's fine, color's fine, everything like that. Our little social medias here, I need to adjust. So let's go in there. And I'm happy with the Facebook, X, LinkedIn and YouTube. If you want to add another one, you can do so by just adding this. Choose whatever network, and there's plenty to choose from there. I've added in too far, it's added on there. Once you're happy, you need to put the link for the real page that you want them to go to in here under link under network there. When you're happy, hit save. Let's just trash that one I did by mistake there. Like I say, all of these, if you're happy with the colors and everything, you can go in, link it to the correct page. At the moment, it's got a black background color for all of ours, which is fine. If you don't put a color in there, it'll put in the default color for those. So YouTube's are red, X's are black, Facebook's are blue, etc. So once you put your correct socials in there, that's fine. And we've got a form here, name, email and message. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about forms. We've got whole videos on how to build forms and that. But what you're going to need to do is put the email address in there that you want it to be sent to. Under content, success message, I always like to say message sent. Just so when they've submitted it, if we spell it right, they'll know that it's been sent, rather than it just disappearing. Now the important part, remember we're under content, is the email. And this is where you want this message to be sent to. So that's you at your email address, whatever the best email is for you. Once you save that, it should be ready to go. Great. Well, down at the bottom of every WordPress page, you've got this archives and categories. Now this is for widgets. If you know what widgets are and you want to use them, that's fine. We can put some in there. But if you just want to get rid of it, we can go to our dashboard, down to appearance and widgets. And it's going to be our footer area. Let's have a look at our footer area. There it is, footer area 1, archives and categories. If we click inside here, we can hit the 3 little dots, delete it. Delete this one. Delete our next one. Delete that one. Basically everything that's in there we want to delete. So we're left with an empty footer area just like the others now. Want to make sure we hit our update button here. Once we've updated, we can go back to our page here. Let's make sure we save the changes by hitting the little purple button. Save draft or publish if you're ready. Let's reload this page. And we'll roll down to the bottom where we were. And as you can see, that little area has now disappeared. Fantastic. Okay, well let's link these sections. One thing I didn't do was a number there. I'm sure you know how to do that. Either go in there or just put your cursor in there and retype whatever the number is for you. We want to link these sections. So I want to link to this contact section here. I think I'm going to actually link to this side so that when it's on mobile, it'll go past the ready to chat onto this. So green tab for the actual row. This is column 2 of the row, which is right here. I'm going to go into it. I'm on column 2 now. I'm going to go over to the advanced, the CSS IDs and classes. I'm going to give it an ID, not a class. We're going to be using this to link to this section from other sections. I'm going to give it an ID of contact, just the word contact. You can call yours what you want, but I like it to mean something to me, and it needs to be unique. There can only be one contact on this page, CSS ID wise. That's great. We'll save that. Let's roll up. We can have another one for education. So let's link to this section. That's fine for this. Blue tab to the section. Advanced CSS IDs and classes. And if you're not sure what I'm doing right now, you will do once I create this menu and button links in a minute. I'm going to call this one EDU for education. Remember, it's in a CSS ID, not a class. And we'll have another one for skills. We can use this section again. CSS ID skills. Don't want one for that one. We can have one for the experience. This orange tab here is a specialty section. We'll use this for experience. Advanced again, CSS IDs. I'm just going to call it EXP for experience. and the one at the top. To get back to the top, when the menu's up, we'll just say home. So I'm going to go into this orange one, which is specialty section again, advanced CSS IDs and classes. Let's call this one home. That's great. Now we want to link to these sections. For instance, we've got buttons here, get in touch. That wants to link to the contact section. We gave our contact section, or the column it was in, an ID of contact. So if I go into our button here, down to the link for the button, I can put hashtag contact. To link to any CSS ID, you just need to put a hashtag in front of it in the link. So that'll link to the contact. Work. Well, let's have that link to skills. We gave a section down there, the ID of skills. So link, it's a CSS ID, so it has to have a hashtag. We'll say skills. So that button will link down to the skills and it will just scroll down to it. And I'll demo this in a moment. Now we've got some more social medias there. Obviously you want to keep them. Great. If you don't, that's fine too. But to edit them, we can go in there, dark tab for a module, do exactly the same thing, put in the correct IDs that you want to take people to, save it, and you can add or remove them by hitting the trash can to remove, or the plus to add a new one like we did earlier. Great. Okay, we've got no buttons down there. That's all legible. There's a little button, more info. We're going to take that button, take us down to the contact. So let's go into this one for the link, CSS ID, hashtag, and the word, what we call the contact. Go on down, start a conversation. We want to link that button to the contact too. So we'll just go in there, dark tab, link, hashtag for CSS ID, contact, fantastic. Moving on down, no more buttons there, that's great, no more buttons there, and we're at the bottom, fantastic. Now we actually need to create the menu. I know we've got one up there and I know it's the right color, that was just left over from my last one. If I put it at the top, that should go back to the default. There we are, like that. That's what you're going to see initially. Well, you won't see much up there because we need to create a menu. Now to do that, we can go back down to our dashboard, to appearance. This time we're going to go to menus, not widgets. And we need to add a new menu. So up here you'll find create new menu. We'll give it a name. I'll call it Chris, because that's his name. And we're going to use actual custom links to create this. So let's hit create menu button. Once it's been created, I'm going to close up the pages here. We're going to use custom links to link to each of those CSS IDs that we created. So let's open the custom links. URL, well, the top one's going to be home, and we gave it a CSS ID of home, and I want it to say home on the menu at the top there. So add it to the menu. Now our next one was called experience, so hashtag EXP was the CSS ID. We want it to say experience. We'll add it to the menu. Next one was skills, wasn't it? Hashtag skills. You could say perhaps my skills, whatever you want to say on yours. Then we had education, which was hashtag CSS ID EDU, my little shorthand there. And also education. And last but not least was contact. Hashtag contact. And say contact me. And we'll add that to the menu. Now just underneath you can decide where you want it to be displayed. I want it to be displayed on our primary menu. This area at the top here is our primary menu. But I also want it to be displayed in the footer. If I go all the way down to the bottom again, I have to roll down because we've got the builder enabled. You've got a bottom site menu here, and it's going to be exactly the same thing because there's the one I did before. So I want to enable it on the footer menu as well. Once you're happy, save your menu. Okay, Well, there's a few things that we want to do. I know ours is looking okay at the moment. Let's go and actually publish this page. It's important that we publish it. If we don't publish it, we can't set it as our home page. Let's exit the Visual Builder. And we should have our new menu up here now, Home, which will be the top one. If I hit Experience, it's going to roll down to Experience. Skills should roll down to the Skills. Education takes us to the Education. And Contact should take us to the Contact Us forms. Now I know we've got the right color up there, but you won't have for the time being. This is because I've got this left over and I'll explain exactly how to do that. And of course we want to put our own logo in there. It's no good it's saying Divi. And to get back up to the top, we can go to Home. Okay, to make this our own, let's go back over to our dashboard here. This time we're going to go down to Customize. That's going to take us to this page here. Now our new site that we just built, we're going to want to set that as the home page. If we look down here, here's home page settings. By default, it's set on your latest posts. I want to set mine to a static page, and I want it to be that page that we just created. Now if you haven't actually published it, you're not going to see it down here. Now we called that page Chris, so I'm going to click on that. You won't see any difference because that's the old one that we just demoed with initially. So we've now got that set as our front page. Once you change anything in here, you want to make sure you hit the publish. I'm not going to hit it right now because there's a few other things I want to do while I'm in here. So let's go back to the home page settings again. Header and navigation. Remember I told you this is the regular header. It's the primary menu bar. And here you can set the colors that you want. Text color, I want it to be that green. So if we go down here, I think that hex color was 33 CEAD. And we've got that color for our nav menu. Now when I roll, you're not going to see it change color there. But once I roll, we're no longer looking at the primary menu, we're looking at the fixed menu. I'll demo that. If we go back up to the top here and just hit the arrow to go back to the fixed nav settings, I've got it set to this color already. Let's change that to something crazy like a purple. You see if I roll up to the top, we're on the primary nav settings. If I roll, we're on the fixed nav. So you can have it change color if you want and get all kind of things going. I want it to be exactly the same really. I don't want it to change color as we go down. So I'm going to put that same code back in here, which is 33 CEAD. So it'll be the same color. Now the other thing is the fixed menu height can be a different height. If you want it to shrink when it goes down, which is the default, you can give it a different fixed height from your main primary menu. So for instance, if I take this down to 40, when I roll down, you see it shrinks there. I don't really like that, so let's put it back to 66. And if we look back at our primary menu bar, you'll see that it's set to 66 also. Great, well let's publish everything now. Only other thing I want to do is put a logo there. And for mobile devices, I'm going to put a little back to the top button. That way they can tap on the button because there's a lot of scrolling, and I'll demo this on mobile in a moment also. So we're in pretty good shape here. Got everything working. To upload the logo, and also what they call a favicon, which is the thing that sits up in your browser window there. We go back now, back again, general settings, site identity. Well, I just called mine D24. Guess it should be called Chris Munro, or whatever yours is. You can have a tagline if you want to. And this will appear up here. Now, site icon usually wants to be square, wants to be a minimum of 512 by 512 pixels. So to select it, we can hit the select button there. I've already got one loaded. I just quickly did that in Photoshop. That's fine. I don't want to crop it, so I'll hit skip cropping. As you can see, it's already put that up there. Fantastic. Let's publish our changes now. And we'll set the logo. To do that, we can get out of our customizer now, hit the X. That'll take us back to our dashboard here. To set the actual logo, we need to go down to Divi, Theme Options, General tab, right at the top is the logo. Upload. And you can pull yours in. I've already got mine there. I've made mine 200 by 200 pixels, seems to work on most devices. Set as logo. And the other thing while I'm in here, I want to enable a back to top button. So I've rolled down the page. I'm going to move it from enabled to disabled. Let's save the changes. Now I'm going to go back into that customizer one more time because there's one more thing I want to show you, and that's about the color of the hamburger menu and the drop down on mobile. So let's go to appearance and customize one more time. There's our little site. Let's go down to mobile styles this time. Mobile menu. At the moment I've got my hamburger that's saying 30 CAED. Of course by default it'll be whatever the default is. I think it's white by default, which you're not going to see it very well. You can still click on it, it's going to fall down and you're not going to see your writing. So I'm going to make my writing that same green color, which is 30 CEAD. Now we can see it, and we can see that writing on the drop down perfectly as well. And if you want to change that background color of the drop down, if you want to change the background color, it's going to change the whole of the background color of the backing there. Let's chuck a crazy purple in there. That will just be on mobile though. Let's turn that one back to white. I quite liked it like that. Great. Now the only other thing I want to show you is the footer menu itself. If we go back here, we go right down to the bottom. Let's go to contact me down the bottom. Here's a footer. There's our little footer menu, but down in the footer credits down here, it's got a few socials that we haven't set up. I've got plenty of socials up here and up the top, so I really don't want that. And I don't want it to say designed by Elegant Themes, powered by WordPress. So if we go down to footer, here's the bottom bar. We can just write his name, or whatever you want to put in there. Chris Monroe. I'm going to put a pipe in, which is the straight line. And let's put a copyright 2020-24. To write a copyright, hold the Alt key down and hit 0169. You'll have the copyright symbol. 2024. As you can see, that's changed that down there. You can actually change the colors and things if you want to. I'm going to go back a little bit. Footer elements. I don't want to show the social icons, so I'm going to take that check mark away. As you can see, those are gone. We can hit publish and we should be good to go. So let's go back to the page. Let's refresh it now. We've got our correct logo. We've got our site name and tagline there. We've got our little favicon or site icon up there. The menus are the right size. Fixed menus are the right size. Make sure our buttons are going to work. Get in touch, that should go to the contact. Fantastic. Let's hit our little back to the top button. View my work, that should go to the skills. There it is. What else have we got here we need to test? There's a button. More info should go to contact. Brilliant. Let's start a conversation. That goes to contact 2. Let's make sure these work. Contact, well, let's start at the top. Home, experience, skills, education, contact. Fantastic. Back to the top. And just to check it, let's take a look on tablet and mobile. We'll look on mobile. I'm going to hit my F12 key. Here it is on iPhone 12. And we can scroll down. Let's hit one of these buttons. Get in touch. Takes us all the way down to the contact. We've got our back to the top button. Let's have a look at our menu here. Experience. Takes us down to experience. Let's roll down a little bit more. More info. Start a conversation. Skills, marketing. Perfect. We've got our socials right there. We've got our little contact form they can fill out and send the message. And we got our little back to the top button. We got our footer menu right there. And we got Chris Munro's name with a copyright statement right there. And we can go back up the same way as we came down. If I go back up to education, we can go all the way back up to the top with our back to the top button. And our menu is working perfectly readable. I don't really need that search icon there. In the customizer, if you want to get rid of that one, we can go there. We'll go back down to header elements. So show search icon, you can just take that off and that'll disappear. Make sure you hit publish. So there we have it, guys. There's how to create a personal website in under an hour. We're using the Divi theme to do this today. As you can see, really easy to do, and that's a great little site. Of course, I used a bit of help from ChatGPT there to generate the content, but I'm sure you'd have real content about yourselves. So I hope you've enjoyed this today and found it useful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, ring the bell, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once again, this has been Jamie from System22 and webdesignandtechtips.com. Don't forget, if you have any questions, pop them down below the video. I'll do my best to answer them for you or make a little demo video just like this one. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.